Hi Homeworthy, I'm Taylor. Welcome to my Brooklyn apartment. Let me show you around.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Before today's episode, click the join button below to support all of the storytelling we do on this channel. Our growing community of members help to directly fund more videos so we can capture these extraordinary homes from around the world. So join today to receive early and exclusive access to new Homeworthy videos.
Hi, I'm Taylor Simon and I'm an interior designer based in Brooklyn. I would say my home style is a mixture of a few different things. So I like brutalist design, I like mid-century, so I like to kind of mix a lot of different styles together and make it my own. So when we were looking for an apartment, we knew we wanted 2 bedrooms and we knew we wanted to be in this neighborhood. And actually, some friends of ours lived in this apartment just a couple doors down. It was the same layout, same unit, everything. So we knew we loved it already, and we got in contact with their landlord and one came available, and we moved in now 3 years ago. It's been great. I really love the lofted ceilings. It makes everything seem a lot bigger, and in New York, that's very rare to come by, so we feel very lucky to have found this place. So I also make videos on social media about interior design, general tips and tricks, trends that I see. And earlier this year, back in January, I made a video about the unexpected red theory. And that theory is basically if you add anything that's red, big or small, into a room where it seemingly doesn't match, I think that it automatically makes the space look better. And I just really believe that adding that pop of something unexpected makes your space look more designed and more intentional. And that's just been a really fun ride to see where that video has gone. It's been featured in a lot of different publications, so it's been crazy, but a lot of fun. So welcome to our entryway / dining room. One thing to note, most of my furniture, I would say about 90%, is vintage or secondhand. So I like to kind of curate and collect things over time so it feels more like me and has a lot more character. So starting in the dining area, this table is not a vintage find, but it is just as special because my dad actually made this. He just layered plywood here and he shipped it on a Greyhound bus, and miraculously it made it to New York from Kansas City. It's the perfect size for this area and we love it. We're gonna have it forever. These are mid-century dining chairs that I absolutely love. These were a Facebook Marketplace find that perfectly go with the size of the dining table. Over here, this is kind of our entryway cabinet. This is a 1960s walnut piece. It is basically our entire kitchen. There is so much in here: plates, bowls, cups. There's an air fryer in here. There's a soda stream in here. So it's a bit of a mess, but you have to be creative with storage in New York, and it's the perfect piece for this room. I do recommend, you'll notice there are some mixed matching wood tones in here. And again, I recommend layering different wood tones so it looks more curated and collected over time. On this entryway piece, I have this vase that I absolutely love. I found it at an antique shop in Amsterdam. It's just this kind of crackled glass texture, and I like kind of the mixture of the glass with all of the wood with some ceramic, and I just think it's a beautiful piece right when you walk in the apartment. Next up, this is a mid-century candelabra that is from my friend Bridget, who has a shop called Tesori Home. She curates beautiful vintage and antique finds, and I saw this on their website and I thought it was perfect for this space, and I just absolutely love it. My interest in interior design started back when I was in high school. So actually we had a house fire while I was in high school. no one was hurt. Luckily, no one was home. We didn't have any pets. But we basically had to renovate the entire house. The outside was brick, but we had to gut and basically redo the inside. And my mom has great taste in everything, especially interiors. And so that was really cool and really formative for me to see her process of choosing every, flooring, the wood tones, where this wall should be, what colors should we paint the walls, and then eventually, furniture and decor items. And I realized that I really loved that process, and I have always been interested since then. And so I've really tried to kind of share my passion with both online when I make those videos about interior design, and also when I help other people design their homes. Right off of our dining and entryway is our kitchen. And believe it or not, this has actually gone through a big transformation. When we first moved in, these countertops were camo print. So to kind of clean it up, make it feel a bit bigger, we painted it this warm white color. And this is just some more kind of collected items that I've found over time. This is a 1940s French carafe that I also found in Amsterdam. I love the texture of the top with the handle. You can tell it's handmade because it's a bit uneven at the top. So I just love to display that. And then one other piece that I want to give a shout out. My friend Jenna made me this beautiful espresso mug, but it has unexpected red. So I display it, I love it. I just think it's the perfect unexpected red feature in our kitchen. So one tip I have when you're working with a smaller kitchen, especially in an apartment in New York, is to get creative with storage. So we have that big piece in the entryway that holds a lot of our stuff. Another tip is to play with lighting. So I always recommend to have lighting at different angles and levels throughout your home. So we have the overhead light, obviously, which is more functional, but then we also have the table lamp that's kind of that lantern, more warm glow feel. And it's kind of setting more of an ambiance in the kitchen, which usually is purely functional, but it makes it feel more like a room and just an extension of the rest of the home. So more tips that I like to recommend to my clients are mixing materials and mixing metals and mixing woods. So I think to achieve a very collected, curated home, it's very important to mix different metals. So chrome, brass, gold, you'll see a lot of different textures and metals throughout my home. Same thing goes with wood. I think a lot of people assume that once you have one wood piece, the rest of your apartment or home has to follow suit. But in order, again, to make it feel more collected, like you've kind of curated your things over time, it's important to also mix woods and add that dimension. Same thing goes with materials. So, again, brass, ceramics, marble, fabric, that's what's going to make your home feel more layered and cozier, and that you've kind of collected things from travels and from family members. And it does take a little bit more time, but at the end of the day, it is going to make your home feel more you. So right off the kitchen, we have our bathroom. And this room has also gone through a large transformation. Until about 3 days ago, this entire room was black. And usually when you have a smaller space, I do recommend kind of leaning into the moodiness and painting it a darker color, but functionally it was just too dark. So we again painted it this warm white color, swapped out the mirror, got some brass fixtures, and it feels so much bigger and more calm and easier to put on your makeup at the end of the day. So a tip for a small bathroom is to do ceiling track curtains. I found these on Amazon and they're really nice because it's so easy to open and close the curtain, hide all your necessities in the shower, and these are real curtains, so it looks a bit nicer, a bit more elevated than your normal shower curtain. My favorite room in the apartment would have to be the living room. I've put the most effort into designing this area. When you have people over, this is usually where people gravitate towards, so I wanted to make sure it felt homey and cozy. We have a giant sofa that fills basically the entire room, but to juxtapose the really tall ceilings, I contrasted it with a little bit lower of furniture, just so even though we have the super tall ceilings, it still feels cozy. So when people are hanging out, it's not, overwhelming to have so much white space. Okay, so starting off in the living room, this is our massive sofa. So massive that it didn't fit up the stairs to the apartment. So we had to have our movers pull it over our balcony with a pulley. So it made it into the apartment, but I don't think it will ever actually leave this apartment. We absolutely love it. I mean, it's functional, but it's also beautiful. The white actually can take a lot of action, believe it or not. So it's stuck with us for many years and we really love it. Next up, we have probably my favorite vignette corner of the apartment. Again, most of it is vintage, just found at different thrift stores, Facebook Marketplace, Cherish. This sketch is one of my favorites in the apartment. I originally thought he was maybe, doing the disco dance or something like that, but after staring at him for some time, I've realized that he's playing the air guitar, and he's from the 70s. I just think he's very cool, very groovy, and he makes me smile every time I look at it. Next up, we have some fun art. This I found on Facebook Marketplace as well, and the seller actually was a set designer for TV shows and movies, and she used these two lithographs in the show You, in John Stamos's office, his therapist's office in the show. And I just think that's such a cool story, and that's what's so fun about collecting things that are secondhand. They all come with a story, and I just think they're so fun. Some people say they look like a body part, but that's open for interpretation. So this corner I absolutely love. It's kind of a collection of things that I've found over time. This is a postmodern desk that is very textured and has kind of a rough surface. And I like to kind of juxtapose it with this lamp that's made of metal, that's very smooth. I think it's important to have items that contrast each other to have that interest. So I really love this vignette and how all the different metals and materials come together and really work together. So these are a few of my favorite coffee table books. I have a coffee table book problem. I have so many. A lot of them are hidden in closets, but I love just kind of thumbing through them and finding inspiration. I would say these are a few of my favorites. Arranging things, this is by Colin King. He's an interior stylist, and I absolutely love his eye and how he puts together homes to look so beautiful and so collected. Cy Twombly, one of my favorite artists. I really love abstract, and so he's just one of my favorites. And you'll see a tip later on is to have like an easy, cheap way to have art on your walls is to just find cut out from a coffee table book that you love and frame it, and it's easy and cheap. And then lastly is Axel Vervoort. Again, just one of my major design inspirations. So 3 of my favorites just stacked in this little corner here. Next up is this mid-century credenza that I've had for a while now. It's been with us through many apartments, and it basically just houses a ton of books. So I don't actually display our books, but we have shelves and shelves of books. So if you're curious where all of our books are, here they are. And continuing my addiction to coffee table books, this is a series from Newsweek of different museums around the world. And funnily enough, I was at the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam a few weeks ago, so that's kind of fun. I love the touch of green. Again, the gold kind of goes with some of the metal tones in the room. Yeah, and I just really like to display those, and I actually found them at a thrift store, so that was a great find. Hot tip is to always collect your coffee table books at consignment shops, thrift stores, They're always super easy to find, and you can kind of curate your interests. So next up we have this iron display shelf. This actually was used at Bloomingdale's as a display rack. I like to imagine that they displayed all of the Manolos on this shelf. But I found it secondhand, and I just love the detail of the hard material in such an organic shape. Again, kind of that juxtaposition within one piece. I really love just how solid it is, but at the same time, it's very fluid on top. And the iron actually connects to the iron mirror in the entryway. And so that's one tip I have when you're trying to kind of make your home feel more cohesive, is to repeat materials throughout room to room. So that way you're not locked into the same color palette, and it doesn't have to feel matchy-matchy throughout. It's just small touches of repeated materials room to room to make it feel more put together. On this shelf, I am babysitting this plant for my friend. This is a beautiful fern. I love the texture, kind of the soft texture of it against the iron. And then again, the obsession continues with my coffee table books. And then on the bottom, I just house all of my records. And there is actually a pop of unexpected red here in the records. That was unplanned. But yeah, I just love this bookshelf and kind of curated, again, some collected items over time, mixing materials. And yeah, I just love this corner of the room. So next up, we have this mushroom stool. This I found at a flea market called Urban Mining in Kansas City. It's once a month, and they have some great things. I love the texture. There's the walnut that again ties into the entryway piece in the kitchen. And there's not a ton of color in this room. We have some greens through the pillows and the books, but I love the pop of yellow here. It's not overwhelming, it really works, and it just brings me joy every time I look at it. All right, next up, we have a collection of some collected art. This is actually a cool story. So this is the Brooklyn Bridge, and it's a sketch that my mom actually found at a thrift store in Kansas City. And so she gifted it to us a few Christmases ago, and I absolutely love it. And this is actually the view that my now husband proposed to me. So it has even more meaning now, and I just love it so much. And this piece, like I mentioned earlier, a great way to have, like if you already have a frame, but you're needing a piece of art for it. This is a cutout from the Cy Twombly coffee table book, and perfectly fits within the mat. And yeah, it's just an easy and cost-effective way to curate your art collection. So this is a giant piece of art. I really love abstract art. Again, I just think it's very calming and soothing. It took a long time to find a piece for above the sofa because the walls are so tall. I wanted something that I wasn't going to get tired of looking at. And brown, I really love the color brown. I think it's just very soothing, and I love the subtle texture, and I think it just really pulls the room together. Next up, we have this chrome table lamp that my husband actually picked up for me in Woodstock, New York. He's very committed and involved and loves to pick things up for me on Facebook Marketplace. But again, you know, just mixing the different metal tones. We have brass lamp over here, kind of gold sconces here, but it just really all works together. And again, mixing materials, the chrome on the wood is very fun, and it really pops against the wood tone. So this is a mid-century coffee table. It's kind of a Knoll style. So we have marble on top, chrome on the bottom that ties into the chrome lamp we have over here. This is a beautiful ceramic vase that I found at a thrift store. I love the texture. Again, mixing the kind of rough texture with the smooth marble. And then I love how the marble pops against this tan rug. It's very soft. I wanted something just simple and calming that kind of blended in so the rest of the furniture would pop against it. And I just love how it all came together. So we do have these super tall windows that does give us some light, but we are north facing, so it's not super direct light. So I do recommend, again, to layer lighting throughout a room. So we have the sconces, we have a floor lamp, we have table lamps. So that way, when you're not getting as much direct light, you're still kind of getting that glowy feel, and it provides that dimension when you're not getting the south-facing beautiful sunlight. So with the super high ceilings, it makes the space feel super grand and super large, which again is very rare in a New York apartment, so we're very lucky to have found this place. But I like to kind of both lean into the tall ceilings, but also have some lower furniture to create the balance so it still feels cozy while you're just hanging out in here. So that's why we were able to go super large with the art. The sconces are hung pretty high. We have art that goes pretty high up the ceiling. The curtains are almost at the ceiling. And so it's fun to play with that scale. But then at the same time, we have kind of a lower sofa that doesn't have legs. We have kind of a mid-century credenza, and mid-century furniture tends to be lower to the ground. And so it's kind of that balance of the two things that makes decorating a loft so fun, because you have that flexibility to kind of do both at the same time. And now I'm going to show you our primary bedroom. So welcome to the primary bedroom. This has the same tall ceilings as the living room. We painted it in a light blue color. This is by Farrow & Ball. It's called Skylight, and I thought that was appropriate because the ceiling's basically going to the sky. I really love how the blue looks. It's very calming, and it's actually more versatile than you'd think. I love how it looks with a lot of the different materials we have in here. So we have some wood, we have some bronze sconces that my friends at Plank Hardware gifted me. These are really cool because they can go vertically, but you can also turn them horizontally like that. So you can kind of choose your adventure there. But yeah, I really like how the dark metal, again, goes with kind of the softer blue color. Next up, I have to point out the star of the show in here, which is this painting. This is by my friend Jake Snowden. He's an abstract artist here in Brooklyn, and I just absolutely love his work. He's so talented, and I love the color palette. It has the light blues, it has some red tones, which go with the brick-colored rug that's from the Arvin Olano Rugs USA collection that I absolutely love. And this painting is called Last One on the Dance Floor, which I thought was too ironic and iconic not to have above your bed, and it just really brings the entire room together. So next up, we have these Unaugusta mid-century nightstands, and these are a walnut shape. I love the subtle curve of them on the wood. And I originally saw these on Facebook Marketplace, but I lost out on them. I didn't get them, and I was so upset, and I obsessed over them for a couple months, and I just couldn't find a pair that I loved as much. And I had a screenshot of them from the listing on Facebook Marketplace. And one of my top hacks to find something that you're searching for is to use Google Lens. And so I was just constantly putting in that photo into Google Lens. I couldn't find them. And then finally, I saw them listed on Cherish. And I'm pretty sure they're the same pair that I missed out on Facebook Marketplace. And someone had just listed them on Cherish. So I'm pretty sure I overpaid for them, but they're so beautiful and I love them so much. I will have them forever. And I really like how the subtle curve of these goes with the subtle curve of this mirror, which funnily enough, the seller of this mirror that I found also worked on movie and show sets. And so I just thought the shape of this was perfect to kind of tie into the shape of the nightstands. And then on this dresser, we have more coffee table books, big shocker there. I love this like kind of pop of yellow. I guess we have pops of yellow room to room. And then we also have this beautiful vintage Danish vase that I found from Broit, which is a vintage seller. They have some really beautiful kind of dainty objects. And so I just love how it looks again against the wood. So in the bedroom, I wanted to keep it very simple and serene. So we just have this simple white duvet. I think I just found this on Amazon, honestly, but it's very soft and I like the subtle texture of the woven detail. And I think once we painted the walls this light blue, the white pops even more. And so I really love how the bed now looks with the walls and the rug, and it just really all came together. What home means to me is basically an extension of myself, and that's what I try to achieve with my clients as well. When I'm designing for somebody else, I try to really understand who they are, what they like to do, how they use their space, and I'm not just projecting my own style onto them. And so they might know what they like or dislike, but I'm then able to kind of put it together for them in a coherent and cohesive way. But home should be somewhere where you're comfortable hanging out on the sofa, but you're also feeling very creative. You're also able to host people. So it's that balance of making memories, but also recharging and decompressing from being out in the world. It should really be your catch-all for everything that you need in life. And it should also be a reflection of your experiences, from travels again, from things passed down from family, and just overall just an extension of yourself.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.